The Blazers are now 2-2 on the season after splitting games in Los Angeles, losing on Sunday to the Los Angeles Clippers, but then beating a shorthanded Lakers team 122-108 behind what has been a pretty stellar defense so far this season. Currently, the Blazers are doing something better than any team in the league by far. We'll get into what that is, and we also have more clips of opponents praising what the Portland Trail Blazers are doing right now. This video is brought to you by Sleeper. Use code Uprise. So last night, the Blazers faced a familiar foe in DeAndre Ayton. And going into this game, I really wanted Donovan Clingan to outplay Ayton and show why the Blazers bought out DA to clear that starting spot for Donovan Clingan. Clingan had a phenomenal game, 16 points in only 25 minutes, 14 rebounds. He was 8 for 9 inside the arc. And while Ayton had his moments in this game, it mostly came against Young Hansen. And at the end of the day, the Blazers got the last laugh. Here's what DeAndre Ayton had to say about facing his former team.
Was it strange? Was it strange for you at all, seeing some guys that you were teammates with?
Nah, they definitely was talking crap to me the whole time. I definitely had to embrace it and take it to the chin a little bit. Denny, everything, every shot he made, he just kept rubbing it in. But yeah, I love that they played hard though.
And that's yet another Blazer opponent that is crediting them for how hard they play. And it's been strange to see the Blazers get a lot of praise from their opponents. James Harden talked about how hard the Blazers play as well, and JJ Redick had this to say about Toumani Kamara.
Coach, last season you referred to Toumani Kamara as a banshee. What does that mean, and what have you seen out of Kamara, particularly defensively, and maybe just the way the Blazers are playing defense, at least early in the season? And I know it's second half back-to-back, so I understand that as well.
No, I've watched them enough because I've obviously watched the Minnesota game as well. So in preparation for our game, so they're all picking up full court. Even Abdi and Sharpe are doing it to an extent, but Kamara, Drew, Blake Wesley off the bench. He looks like a totally different player than the player that I watched in San Antonio. Just in terms of his confidence and then his defensive intensity and energy right now to pressure the basketball. It's the biggest concern you have playing those guys, is just being able to get into your offense. And I think with Kamara, he's probably, like, I was having a conversation on a golf course this summer with a guy. He's like, who's the guy that the casual fan wouldn't know that's just awesome? And I said, if you went and asked 30 NBA coaches that, they'd all say Toumani Kamara. Like, he's so valuable as a basketball player and would fit on any team. And I love what the Blazers have done in terms of allowing him to develop, not just as a defender, but as a crasher, a shooter, a secondary playmaker. So he's improved a ton. I thought his season last year was like A+, and he's in terms of a banshee. You know what a banshee is?
Yeah, it's the Moors, mythical kind of witch.
It's a Gaelic. It's a figure in Gaelic folklore. It's a spirit of a dead woman who's warning of an impending death. In Na'vi culture, it's a flying creature used for war from the movie Avatar. In the movie or the video game Halo, it's a covenant warship with 2 plasma guns. And in Laker culture, it's somebody who's all in, 2 feet in the circle, a faucet, not a drain. It's somebody who just all in, full tilt.
Bet you didn't think you were going to get a folklore lesson from JJ Redick in this episode, but there you go. And while Kamara has struggled a little bit offensively, I know he had a 19-point game, but his shot's not falling quite at the clip that it did last season. He's still been terrific defensively, drawing a lot of offensive fouls, forcing turnovers, and the Blazers as a whole are forcing an insane amount of turnovers. If you go to dunksandthrees.com and you sort by defensive turnover percentage, you'll see Portland at the top with a 20.9 defensive turnover percentage. There is a bigger gap between Portland and the second place Cleveland Cavaliers than there is between Cleveland and a league average team. That being Memphis all the way down at 16th place with a 14.5 turnover percentage. The Blazers are doing an awesome job of forcing opponent turnovers, and if they keep this pace up, it'll be absolutely historic, because sorting back through Dunks and Three's website, going all the way back through 2014, the next closest team to the Portland Trailblazers is the Milwaukee Bucks with a 17.5 defensive turnover percentage. Portland is more than 3 points better than that currently. And while it is a super small sample size, so it's going to be really tough for Portland to maintain this pace, their current pace of forcing turnovers is a historic pace. And they have done a great job picking up full court like no other team in the league, and other opponents are taking notice and crediting the Blazers for what they're building on the defensive end. Now, the Blazers need to do a little better job of slowing down stars. Anthony Edwards had 41 against them on opening night. Kawhi Leonard had a great game in game number 3. And then Austin Reeves had 41 last night, and he was pretty much the only offensive player you had to worry about. The Blazers would be better served by trying to cut off the head of the snake, so to say, slow down the opposing star. But if you could couple that with the rate of turnovers that the Blazers are forcing, they will be an absolutely elite defense. There's just a couple things to shore up when they are not able to force turnovers. But it's been a really fun brand of basketball to watch, and it's been insane to see an NBA team force so many turnovers for opponents trying to simply bring the ball up the floor. We saw multiple from the Los Angeles Lakers last night. They had 25 turnovers as a team. While Austin Reeves had a great game, he had 8 of them. The Lakers didn't really have a traditional point guard out there. Austin Reeves is more of a combo guard, and the Blazers took advantage. Meanwhile, on the offensive side of the ball, Jrue Holiday had a fantastic game last night. I've been really impressed with how slow of a pace he can play and get to his spots. 24 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. He had 3 straight possessions where he knocked down threes. It was cool to see that. We haven't really seen that since Damian Lillard or Anthony Simons did it in previous seasons. You know, we don't have either of those guys playing right now, so it was cool to see a little heater from Jrue Holiday yesterday. And then Deni Avdija just consistently produces night in, night out right now. He's scored at least 20 points in all 4 of his games this season. He's averaging 23.5 points per game. And if this Blazer team can be a top 6 or 7 seed around the All-Star break, and Deni Avdija continues to play like this, he will definitely be in All-Star conversations, which would be cool to see for him. On the other side of things, Shaedon Sharpe continues to struggle. He was 0 for 6 from 3 last night. His shot selection needs to improve. He takes some tough shots, and it's hard for him to be a truly efficient player with some of the tough shots he's taking. He had 5 turnovers yesterday against the Lakers after having 6 turnovers the night before against the Los Angeles Clippers. On the season, Shaedon Sharpe has 8 assists and 17 turnovers. That's worse than a 1-to-2 assist-to-turnover ratio. He really needs to improve his decision-making and the reads he's making on the floor. Right now, I feel like Shaedon Sharpe is trying to assert himself as a scorer a little bit too much, which is the opposite of some of the criticism that he's gotten years past, where maybe he's not assertive enough. To me, it seems like he's forcing a little bit too much early in the season to assert himself as a star-level scorer, much like we saw last season from Anthony Simons early in the year. If Shaedon Sharpe can slow things down and let the game come to him, I think he will be much more efficient and probably score even more. It's funny how when you stop trying so hard, things start working out, and I feel like that's the case with Shaedon Sharpe, because he's taken some really, really tough jump shots, even when his shot's not falling. He did get hot to end last night's game, scoring his final 4 field goal attempts, so hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Now, the Blazers' next opponent is the Utah Jazz. They are 2-1 on the season. They have been surprisingly competitive. They are very close to being 3-0 as they barely lost against the Sacramento Kings. And last night, Lauri Markkanen had 51 points on 14 for 32 from the field, 17 for 17 from the free throw line. Keontae George, 26 points, 10 assists. Walker Kessler, 25 points, 11 boards. But the Blazers have a winnable game in Utah, but it's not going to be as easy as you might think. This team is playing some solid basketball right now. But I think the Blazers' style of defense will work against Utah. They're a younger team. Keontae George is a bit more of a combo guard, kind of like Austin Reeves in my opinion, and they don't really have much ball handling outside of him and Walter Clayton Jr., who's a rookie guard off the bench. So I think the Blazers will have some success being able to force some turnovers in the backcourt, make it tough on Utah bringing the ball up the floor. I think it'll be interesting to see how Lauri Markkanen does against this defense. As I said, all the stars that have done well against them are stars that handle the ball a lot in pick and rolls and are ball handlers on the perimeter. Kawhi Leonard, Austin Reeves, Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry. Lauri Markkanen isn't really one of those types of players. I think the Blazers match up with him well, being able to throw big mobile forwards his way to defend him into Monty Kamara, Denny Avdia, and Jeremy Grant off the bench. I actually like that matchup a lot for Jeremy Grant. I like it more than him guarding guards that run a lot of pick and rolls, considering he struggles to get through screens. So I think this is a good matchup for the Blazers, and I think they will have a real opportunity to move to 3-2 on the season, which would be cool because they haven't had more wins than losses at any point the last 2 years. So even though it's 5 games in, being above 500 would be pretty nice because it's been a minute since that's happened. So that's the key to beat the Jazz, is to continue to lean into that defensive identity and make things tough for their guards. I think their guards may be a little shaky in this game, at least that's my hope. And then Walker Kessler has been having a great season. I think that will be a fun matchup between him and Donovan Clingan. That game tips off at 6 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. And lastly, here's my sleeper picks for tomorrow. If you use promo code Uprise, you can get 100% deposit match up to $100, as well as a free $20 entry. Why wouldn't you take advantage of a free $20 entry? Let me know what you think of these picks in the comment section below, and we'll have you covered in tomorrow night's post-game show after the Blazers take on the Jazz. Hopefully we're talking about another win. And with that being said, I'm out of here. I'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!